Not sure if you heard, but that was the cats. Right as I started the video, they start, well, that's their play. If you didn't hear it, well, too bad, because it really sets up this video. Extremists see U.S. power grid as target. Government report warns. It hasn't been released yet. And it's an anonymous source. Extremists see U.S. power grid as target. And what is this first picture? Oh, great. Central Maine power utility lines. Extremist groups in the United States. Oh, they're domestic extremists. Well, now I'm scared. Domestic extremists. I have to wonder. Those parents at school board meetings, you got to keep an eye on them. You know, those moms from Tennessee and Virginia, you got to keep an eye on them. I'm kidding. But unfortunately, our government is not. Extremists. Quote, adhering to a range of ideologies will likely continue to plot and encourage physical acts against electrical infrastructure. Who might they be? You, me, anybody that disagrees with our lovely government. Their narrative that they put out. You disagree, you're a domestic extremist. You want to protect your children in school, you want to speak up at school board, you are a domestic extremist. You happen to like the Constitution, you're a domestic extremist. You want the laws of the country enforced, you're a domestic extremist. You want the border safe, secure. You don't want migrants just flooding across the border. You're a domestic extremist. Can't Americans see that something's very wrong with our government's ideology? Okay, 6,400 power plants and 100,000 miles of high voltage transmission lines that span the country are at threat from domestic extremists. Quote, they feel that disrupting the electrical, the domestic extremists, they feel that disrupting the electrical supply will disrupt the ability of government to operate, the official said, on condition of anonymity, to discuss a report that has not been publicly released. Love these anonymous sources in mainstream media news. Quote, and secondly, by conducting attacks against the communications and electrical infrastructure, it will actually accelerate the coming civil war that they anticipate, because it will disrupt the lives of so many people that they will lose faith in government. Some of these concerns are nearly a decade old. A decade old, wow. And nothing has happened yet. But when they're ready to pull the plug, who will they put the blame on? Those who are not happy with our fabulous government? Those QAnon Trump supporters? How about just the conservatives? Because we're all domestic extremists now. This is not the country I grew up in. It's not the country I like anymore. The report also mentioned 4 suspected extremists who were accused in October 2020 of a plot to damage transformers in Idaho and nearby states, and the arrest in May 2020 of 3 alleged militia extremists tied to the anti-government Boogaloo movement. Oh, okay. So, This isn't good. And, well, the World Economic Forum does have their, they had a, similar to the pandemic simulation, they had a cyber simulation where, oops, the grid goes down all over the world. It's coming. I have no doubt. Especially when we see, countries opening up. And look, there's so many ways in which you can construe or speculate what is going on. All of the countries that are suddenly opening up, not following narratives like we have here in the United States or Canada or other countries, it's to create confusion. And they want governments to be aligned. So, well, they've been talking about the next pandemic, and it's going to be worse than this one. And then suddenly they're just going to say, well, governments, you all have to follow the same direction. That creates a one world government. And it's also to create an awful lot of confusion, animosity, those who are open, even, living in open states in the United States versus other states that have tighter restrictions. Those, they get pissed at those in the red state. Oh boy, there's so much. The psyop is so deep, and it's so, well, it's deep and obvious at the same time. And I wish that Americans would just start thinking again. Maybe domestic extremists. They're talking about everybody who is not aligned with the direction that they want everybody moving in. So don't you think other Americans might raise an eyebrow or two? Like our fellow Americans, regardless of, their political bent or their, religion or race or whatever. We're all Americans, right? No, not anymore. There are the Americans who are masked and just parroting back the official narrative. And then there are the domestic extremists. Domestic extremists pushing violence against Congress and school and health officials. Beware the parent who wants to protect their child. Now, I posted this in a video, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks ago. New, citing, quote, elevated threat from domestic violent extremists. The Department of Justice official announces the creation of yet another new domestic terrorism unit to augment our existing approach. How many units do you need to monitor those parents? All right. You can. I'll link below to everything. You can listen to this. I played it once before. I can't play it again. I can't listen to these people. They are such traitors. They're treasonous pigs. Now, I don't even want to say pigs, because pig is a really great animal. Subhuman creatures that are so fucking evil, it makes my skin boil. Is that, I don't know, a saying? I think it is. Here, this is what happens when you don't go along with your party line.
We begin at 6 with Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema receiving a sharp censure from the state's Democratic Party. The executive board of the Arizona Democratic Party formally censured Sinema over her filibuster stance. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 6. I'm Rachel Cole. Mitch Carr has the night off. Sinema's recent decision blocked the Biden administration's voting rights legislation from passing. In a statement, Sinema's office says, quote, during 3 terms in the U.S. House and now in the Senate, Kirsten has always promised Arizonans she would be an independent voice for the state, not for either political party. She's delivered for Arizonans and has always been honest about where she stands.
So Kirsten seems to have some principles. And, well, she went against the Democratic Party. And she's censured for it? Really? That's what happens when you vote? You are elected by the people of Arizona. You go to Congress and you vote in accordance with those who are your constituents. And you vote, based on principles, and because it wasn't aligned with the Democratic Party, you get punished. Now, Arizonans, they put that in your face. It's on the news. What you going to do about it? This is not right. This is not what this country used to be. And I'm not saying this country was great ever. All I'm saying is I grew up in a very different country and now it's foreign. Right. The border crisis?
So we've been waiting for this. Biden administration releasing a long-awaited report on migrant encounters at the southern border during the month of December. It shows the number trying to enter the U.S. last month higher than the 3 previous Decembers combined. Bill Malugin on that story. Some stunning video as well, live in Brownsville, Texas. Wow. Bill, good morning.
Bill, good morning to you. Right now, we are in front of a parking garage in Brownsville where for the very first time during this border crisis, we actually witnessed the mass release of single adult male migrants from federal custody. Take a look at this video we shot right here on Sunday afternoon. What you're looking at are federally contracted buses dropping off dozens of migrants at this parking garage. And what you'll quickly notice is these are all single adults being released, almost all of them men. No children, no family units. And this raised eyebrows with us because single adults are supposed to be expelled from the country via Title 42. So we watched as these migrants were ushered into this unmarked office with a for lease sign. There were some black tarps set up outside to restrict the public from viewing what was going on. And after a short time in that office, we started noticing taxi cabs showing up to this parking garage, the La Plaza parking garage. We watched as migrants then came out of the office, got into the taxi cabs, and the taxi cabs started driving away. So we followed those taxi cabs. They ended up going to Harlingen Airport, about 20 to 30 minutes away from where we are, and those migrants were just dropped off at the airport to fly around the country. We talked to a couple of them. They said they were going to Atlanta, Houston, and Miami, and they had just crossed illegally and paid a cartel $2,000 to do so. So I reached out to the city of Brownsville to ask what the heck's going on here, and they confirmed they're involved. Take a look at the statement if we can pull it up right now. City of Brownsville telling me in part, quote, in reference to migrants in federal custody, the City of Brownsville's Office of Emergency Management, through federal assistance from FEMA, facilitates the transfer of these migrants to their final destination by allowing them to use services to contact their families, NGOs, or a taxi cab. La Plaza Parking Garage serves as a staging center where migrants coming into the country are provided with travel information to facilitate transfer to their final destinations. They went on to tell me that media is not allowed to go inside and shoot video. I reached out to CBP to ask about the release of single adult migrants. They told me they were not involved with this. I reached out to ICE. They told me they are looking into it. However, a source within ICE tells me this was an ICE release. We'll send it back to you.
Wow, amazing stuff.
If you don't like what's happening with, just what you just heard, then you're a domestic extremist. Okay, that's not the first video of a whole lot of single young men who are supposed to be deported. They didn't come over with families. They don't have children. So what's going on? We're just flying them all over the country? Yes, that's what we're doing. Hey! And, oh, well, yes, the Republicans are also involved in this, but the Democrats put on quite the show that really overshadowed the Republicans. And now it's so obvious that, where the hell are you, Democrats? Do you not have any care about what your party is doing? Or are you still blaming Trump for this? Like Trump. It's Trump's fault. Really? Now, look, don't leave me a comment. Oh, so you're a Trump supporter. Please, start thinking, okay? And every time you have a thought about somebody and you make a presumption, take a step back before you release it out of your head. Just take a step back, analyze it. Do I really know if she's a Trump supporter? Maybe I should check out her channel. Maybe she's got some videos on Trump just playing his role in this whole staged, manufactured, dangerous game we're living. A reality that I don't like. I'm sure a lot of you don't like. But, okay, VP Harris returning to Central America in latest bid to handle migrant crisis. How about we enforce the law? An easy, no, I don't want to say it's complicated. It's very hard. But if we just enforce the law, maybe we wouldn't have this crisis that is being manufactured. Americans, you're being taken down. You're being taken down by your own government. No, it's not your fellow American who happens to be conservative or happens to go to school board meetings, is not happy with what's going on in the schools. It is not those who happen to, fly a flag in front of their house. It is inside the White House, Congress. Look into them, maybe. Those are the ones. Those are the domestic terrorists. Those are the domestic extremists. Those are the radicals that are taking you down. My God. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Geez. Looks like a lot of young men. Now, if this was during the Trump years, oh my God! But it's Biden, so we'll forget about it. Oh, by the way, are they vaccinated? No. Look at this. Well, okay, this is what Psaki has had to say.
Hey, Jen, a question about immigration.
Sure.
Why is it that large numbers of single adult men are being released into the United States just hours after being apprehended at the southern border?
Well, I'm not sure the specifics of what you're referring to, Peter. What I can tell you in terms of what our policy is and how we're approaching the border is that we continue to be under Title 42. Migrants who cannot be expelled under Title 42 are placed into immigration proceedings, and one of those avenues could be placement in an alternative to detention program in the interior of the United States. Sometimes that means moving migrants to other parts of the United States to move to different detention facilities where they wait for next steps in the immigration process, such as a court hearing, and are required to check in with a local ICE office. So that is certainly something that is happening out there in the country and is consistent with our policy.
And you mentioned that they're supposed to check in at a local ICE office, but we know that just between March and August, which is a very small sample size, DHS says more than 47,000 of these migrants that were given notices to report did not show up. So why let them into the U.S. unsupervised in the first place?
Well, again, we have a stringent protocols and processes that we implement here. That includes expelling individuals who come in under Title 42, given we are still in a global pandemic, and includes those who do not show up will be subject to the repercussions of that. So that is the policy we're implementing from our Homeland Security Department.
Oh, the Homeland Security Department. That's supposed to be protecting you, Americans. Well, it doesn't seem like it is. Let's see, where is it? Oh, I have it right here.
Unlawful presence in the United States will alone not be a basis for an immigration enforcement action. Unlawful presence in the United States will alone not be a basis for an immigration enforcement action.
Okay, so we've ditched immigration law, right? It's gone. We just don't enforce it. Congress, no, they didn't legislate anything different. We've just ditched it. Now, every American should be outraged about what is going on, but they're not. Either they don't care, or they just don't know how the government operates, or, my agenda is just like the Democrats' agenda, and so because everything that's happening I'm supportive of. That means that that person has no principles whatsoever. And that happens to be a lot of Americans. I came across this article. China builds 27 empty New York cities. As of 2016, China's empty apartment units could house New York City 27 times over. Domestic extremists, I wonder if we're going to be shipped into these cities for re-education. Who the hell knows? But that's something to think about, especially when it was Xi who opened the Davos meeting. President Xi of China. Yes, he calls for greater global cooperation to tackle common challenges. All right, we've got a lot going on, a whole lot. And I didn't necessarily want to get into this right now, but Biden, my guess is Russia will invade Ukraine. It's my guess. Hey, I don't know if Putin will, but it's my guess he will. We have a seriously demented president who is an embarrassment, and he's still there. Now, a whole lot of people, I read these articles, listen to these videos, and they actually think that this guy is the leader of the United States, that they believe that this guy is the most powerful man in the world. He's a puppet. He's just a puppet. And he's a puppet that, his strings are so aged that they're giving out. So he's just going along, with somebody else's agenda. And he's doing quite well, in terms of how much money he has gotten. Oh, even from Ukraine. Okay. Families of U.S. embassy personnel in Ukraine ordered to begin evacuating as soon as Monday. That was yesterday. Get out, because we're going in. No option is off the table if Russia further invades Ukraine. We're now at a stage where Russia at any time could launch an attack on Ukraine. That's from this Raggedy Ann puppet. Well, I don't know what. Really, come on, man. This has been my entire flippin' life. Entire life as an American living in this country. The bullshit, the lies, the wars, the violence, the greed, the corruption, everything only getting worse. Americans, can't you see it? Everything has gotten worse, no matter what administration is in the White House, no matter if it's a Republican president or a Democrat president. It doesn't matter who controls the House and the Senate, because everything has just gotten worse. The economy, you want to listen to the lies? Go ahead, but your life is rendered meaningless. You're a meaningless two-legged, who, yeah, the quote-unquote elite call you useless eaters. U.S. giving Ukraine $200 million more in military aid as Blinken talks diplomacy. I mean, you want to talk just a piece of shit, puppet, all of these people. Biden, okay, unanimity with European leaders. Yeah, let's go. Just like with all of these wars, and Americans, you knew Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. But hey, let's go in there and destroy the country. Syria, is Syria really a threat to the United States? So aren't you asking why? What? I mean, Ukraine? Really? Let's listen to that guy that I had. It's amazing. Yeah, and the warmongers on mainstream media, they're beating those drums. Go, go, go. We've lived this over and over and over again. While we don't care about Americans here suffering the consequences of an awful lot, we're going to give $200 million in military aid. We're going to go into Ukraine. We're going to start another war with Russia, too. Yeah, eventually, Americans, a country is going to say, you know what? Americans have lived starting all of these wars, not giving a shit about any of the innocent civilians who are getting killed. So I think it's time that Americans get to experience what it's like. And boom goes London. Well, boom, Harry. No, wait, that's European. Well, do you know Randy? Oh my God, I can't remember his last name. Well, eventually. And you know what? The world's people are getting tired of our crap. It's crap is an understatement. Our evil. And this is exactly what's going on. Evil. That evil empire. You know, the evil access that Bush used to talk about. And that was Iraq, Iran, North Korea. How about Israel, England, United States?
Americans care about what's happening in Ukraine.
Because it goes to a very fundamental principle of all nations, which is that our borders should be inviolate, that our sovereignty.
What? Our borders should be inviolate. Sovereignty should be respected. So we're going, we've already sent troops over. NATO is alerted. Sent the lethal weapons over to Ukraine to protect their border. So borders are important, I guess. Not here in the United States, obviously, but everywhere else around the world. But it has nothing to do with borders. It's at this point, you know, well, look, we've got Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, who are sponsoring articles in these liberal papers about Ukraine. Lockheed Martin. Don't you think that's a conflict of interest? They're going to make a lot of money, right? Yeah. You have these shitheads pushing war. Always. They're always pushing war. And they always claim anybody who objects to what they say, well, then they're unpatriotic and they're traitors. How about we focus on our problems here? Just an idea. Maybe? Yeah. Borders should be inviolate. Sovereignty should be respected. Hey, Psaki, Did you hear that? So, we're a joke of a people. We are. We're just a joke. Ukrainian leaders, hey, guys, wait, stay calm, all right? Hey, Russian invasion, not imminent, okay? Hey, maybe the Ukrainians don't want war on their land, like in their towns, and they don't want their homes bombed and their innocent loved ones killed. Maybe they don't want war. Hey, guys, U.S., whoa, baby, you're a little batshit crazy, okay? So just stay a little bit calm. Russian invasion, it's not imminent. Oh, but wait, Psaki said, it's coming. It's coming, right? We have to. We have to. Russia could invade any minute. I'm so done with the lying crap that goes on in this country. Really. EU foreign policy chief suggests US and UK drama queens. The Ukraine situation, they're maybe dramatizing it, and well, that's what we do. We lie, we cheat, we're greedy motherfuckers, we're evil, and we inflict evil all over the world, and I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it. A good article by Glenn Greenwald. Oh, but Ukraine crisis. Hundreds of military trains with Russian troops deployed as war fears grow. And how could you believe anything our U.S. government says, or the UK government, or Western intelligence agencies? Haven't we learned our lesson? Remember those intelligence agencies that lied to get us into war in Iraq? But we do seem to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, and we never get them. We just become more batshit crazy, because this is how we live, doing the same violent crap over and over and over again, and thinking we're hot shit. U.S. promises to keep Europe warm if Russia invades Ukraine, cuts oil and gas exports. Yeah, we are fabulous to everyone else, but to our own, not so much. Domestic extremists are going to take down our power grid, but U.S. promises to keep Europe warm. Are they going to pay the bill? No. You individuals in Europe will have to pay the bill. And boy, it's gotten pretty steep, only to get steeper. Oh, U.S. mercenaries. Yeah, preparing chemical provocation in eastern Ukraine. Russian defense chief. Staged chemical attack, false flag in order to draw in support from NATO. Now, I believe them more than I believe us. Why? Because, those false flags, those chemical attacks, Assad. We have to bomb Syria because Assad is killing his own with chemical attacks that, they don't even wait for investigations to happen. That was Trump. Yeah, you're good old Trump. 4 days in, chemical attack, Assad, whatever he said, but he called him an evil guy who was killing his own, and we're going to drop bombs on Syria. That's the way you stop people from killing people. You kill them. So, let's wait. Let's just wait. Russia. Chemical attack. Killing innocent Ukrainians. USA! USA! Go! Boom! Yeah. I watched most of this Ukraine on Fire, which was out in 2016, because, well, Ukraine actually has a lot of lovely resources that, well, it's kind of like Americans. They're just so not ordinary. I'm talking about those in, Congress and the White House, and oof, let us get our hands on their resources. But it also has to do with the World Economic Forum's Great Reset and bringing down countries and just toppling governments, and I'm so tired of it. I'm really tired of it. So this piece, Glenn Greenwald, the neocons' primary war tactic, branding opponents of U.S. intervention as traitors. What's Americans, you Democrats, don't you get that now? It's the neocons who were you were very angry with during the Iraq War. Well, they're now on your liberal channels doing the warmongering that they were doing in 2003 that you were not happy about. But now it's okay because, well, they're on MSNBC and CNN. Really? Okay. One of the most bizarre but important dynamics of Trump-era U.S. politics is that the most fanatical war-hungry neocons who shaped Bush-Cheney militarism have become the most popular pundits and thought leaders in American liberalism. Yay! God. Does anybody have any principles in this country? Is anybody really upset about all of the lies being told? Anybody really upset? You Democrats, are you sickened by the crap you hear on these channels? On these outlets? News outlets? Which is not really news. It's just the constant pushing of propaganda, because there are so many agendas going on. All you have to do is do a simple little, well, God, so many have actually sent you videos, sent you articles, but you won't read them because you're just so locked into not wanting to think anymore. Your brain's turned over to these sick, disgusting, subhuman, immoral disgraces. No, okay, I guess you like it. The excuse offered by Democrats for their embrace of neocons: we did it only as a temporary coalition of convenience to oppose Trump. Well, you can read this article. It is actually quite, well, oh, I think she's gearing up to run. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's it. You got them all. Bill Kristol, who's constantly on MSNBC. You got Nicole Wallace on MSNBC, who was the spokesperson for Bush and Cheney. What the hell happened to you? I'm glad I walked away before walk away. Hashtag walk away. I didn't walk to the other side, but I had to walk away because I was beginning to see that my own social network called friends had no principles as well. All they were cheerleaders for their team, and the violence, the killing of innocent people, you didn't care about. I think it's time to look in the mirror.